Hi. So today I'm going to show you how to update personal demographics. Okay. This is a little bit different than if a client does not have demographic record at all. So let me show you what I mean. Okay. There's a couple of ways you can get to personal demographics. One is there is a demographics button here on the front of the chart. And another way is you can go to Profile of Client and personal demographics here. It just depends on where you already are as to which one is quicker. If I'm already on this front screen for the client, then I can click it here. If I have not opened the profile of client screen and I'm on the front of their chart, I can open it there. It does not matter, whichever is most convenient for you. So I did a single click on the personal demographics button. See how my effective, I can see a little bit of the text, but it's kind of cut off. I can put my little arrow over this line and you can see a very faint line that breaks up the headings. And I can drag that over, or you can double click it and it'll automatically expand, kind of like Excel does if you're familiar with Excel. Okay, see how she already has a record in here? What you absolutely never want to do is click on this green plus and do another one. Okay, that will give us errors in our state reporting, and we will have to go back and fix any of the records that look like that. Okay, so, and it's more work, you know? So let's make life easy on yourself, okay? So we're gonna work smarter, not harder. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click on the personal demographics record that already exists. Okay, so you just double click on it. Okay, so here's my demographic records. Okay, and then see how she's got all this stuff filled out. Now, some of this stuff is not likely to change, but some of it might. So I highly recommend reviewing this demographic record quarterly. Okay. If you are in case management or any other program where you've got to do a quarterly review, go ahead and review these when you're doing your quarterly because we want to make sure they're up to date. If you are in emergency services or intake or any of the programs that where a client might come back through a couple of times, you know, you're starting someone new again, or even crisis stabilization. Double check this every time they come in fresh because something might have changed and we want to make sure we have updated information. Okay, so that's my little make sure you've gotten your stuff done information. Okay, so let's say she is no longer a student and she's gotten a job. Okay, to update this, you double click on it, click expiration. You can give it a reason if you want to. If you do give it a reason, it would just be information changed. Okay, and then you hit the OK button. See how that's expired there? Now I want to create a new one. So instead of creating a whole new demographic record, I'm just going to click the green plus on the ones that changed, okay? So I'm going to click on the plus and I'm going to change her employment status to employed part-time. I click the effective date, which is today, and then I just click OK. And now I have ended the one that is not accurate anymore, and I have started a new one. That's it. Like literally, that is it. Okay, so I only have to change the parts and pieces that have been updated or changed since the last time this was filled out. Okay, so marital status, if she got married, let's say, since the last time, we would do that one. Education, let's change that one. This is a big one for our kids. I can't tell you how many times that I've seen one that says somebody is 17 and in the second grade. Okay, this is something we want to update periodically. Okay, so we're going to double click and click expiration. We'll send her to graduate school. Okay, so we'll click on the plus, or actually, how about undergrad? So now she's a college undergrad freshman. One thing on the education ones, you'll see some that say do not use. The state changed their reporting requirements for grades a few years back. So once we have used something in our system, we can't totally delete it because it's been in use at some point. So just keep in mind that don't click on the ones that say do not use. Click on the one that makes the most sense. Okay. Click effective and okay. So a lot of these are pretty straightforward. Employment status, citizenship, marital status, all of these are straightforward. If I scroll over on education, yeah, you should be able to see one of them is expired and one of them is effective. And honestly, you don't necessarily have to go all the way back and figure out like what day they got married, what day they got the job. You can use the date that you're updating it as your date if you're not sure. Okay, so just keep in mind that you can always use your effective date and expiration date as the date you're updating it if you don't know like what day they got the job. And that'd be okay. So I'm going to click on the tab that says additional info. These other tabs get missed a lot, so please make sure that they're updated. And we want as much information as we can get. So, if someone has been our client for 20 years, the race and living arrangement shouldn't say unknown, right? We want it to be as accurate as possible. So make sure you get that information. So let's see, these are pretty straightforward. Race, ethnicity, religion is optional. You can see that because there's no green line all the way around. But a lot of times that's important to the individual and it's good to know for their treatment. It might be a strength or a source of comfort for them. So, you can definitely fill in whatever information you have and make sure it makes sense for the person. So if someone is 5 years old, the veteran status is probably not going to be unknown or yes, right? It would be no. So just make sure, give it a good overview and make sure it fits. Last, the notes and dates tab. This one probably has the most confusing headings of any of the tabs on demographics. I see people get confused on this tab the most. Okay. So where it says SA and pregnant. Okay. If the person is male, it should say not applicable, not no, if that makes sense. Okay. So Hermione, I have set as a female in the system, so I'm going to put no for her. So just be sure to read the heading and then also read the choices and make sure they make sense. Peer recovery support, that is not a therapy group, okay, but a peer group. So that could be a peer group that we have at the CSB. It could be peer recovery in the community like an NA or an Alcoholics Anonymous type of group, okay? That is peer-led and peer-run. Current military status. One thing to keep in mind on the current military status is there's also one for a military dependent, spouse or child. So make sure if you have a dependent, then you just don't leave that as NA. You also include that as well. And then there are dates here if your person does have a military status. Cognitive delay, see those ages? Only for 3 to 6 years old. So it should say NA for anyone who is not 3 to 6 years old. Okay, no could also be acceptable. But again, anything that has an age requirement, you want to make sure falls into that category. One other thing that the state gives us an error on is this next one, SMI, SED, and at risk. Okay, Hermione, my practice client, is 37, so that is over 18. So if I have her in as SED, which is serious emotional disturbance from ages 7 to 17 years old, the state is going to flag this as an error and our record will not be able to send out and be completed. Okay, so make sure the age matches the age of the person. So just make sure you look at these details when you're making these selections. Another thing to keep in mind with this is if I have someone enrolled to mental health case management, adult mental health case management, I'll say, because this is Hermione, excuse me, and she's 37. If I say none, that also has a flag because in order to get into adult mental health case management, you have to have a serious mental illness. So if I say none here, then my pieces of data don't match up. Okay. Same thing with SED children. If someone is enrolled in SED case management for children, but it says none or NA in this field, that doesn't match up and that's a flag too. Okay. The next one is prior episodes of substance abuse treatment. Okay, so you just fit whatever the person says. Okay, this person is not in substance treatment, so that's why it does say NA. You pick the answer that fits the best. Number of arrests in past 30 days. Y'all, I love this one because look, 31. Like, oh, I don't think this person would be still in the community if there were 31 arrests, but the state gives us that many choices. So that just goes to show that the choices in the system are programmed by the state, and that's where we get these from. So they're not ones that we made up, so we can't necessarily just add anything to these tables. She has not been arrested in the past 30 days, so I'm going to select NA. Okay. So another thing that happens is, let's say if I had one arrest, for example, in the past 30 days, 3 years from now, it's still going to say one arrest in the past 30 days unless someone comes here and updates it. So this is another reason why it's important to update it. Same thing for pregnancy. People don't stay pregnant for 3 years. So this should not say yes for, longer than 9 or 10 months or whatever it is, right? So you just want to make sure to come here and update this as needed. Again, don't create a whole new demographics record for somebody who already has one, but we want to make sure we update the part and pieces. The ones on the notes and dates tab are really easy too because you can just directly update the drop down. You don't necessarily have to apply a date. Then make sure you save your changes. And y'all, save and save plus do the exact same. You'll see it at the bottom of the screen. And now my record is updated. So just make sure you lay eyes on that every so often. Give those records an update. Again, I recommend at the quarterly and anytime someone enrolls to a new program for that staff doing the enrollment, just do a quick overview visual, make sure that's right. You can do this with the person and say, hey, just want to double check and make sure we have accurate information for you. It can be a rapport building thing with you and your person. So if you have any questions about that, just feel free to ask. And I hope you have a very fantastic day. Thanks. Bye.